Really good quarterbacks,
Yeah.
including number 12 on your list as we continue the Chris Simms Top 40 Quarterback Countdown. That player is
Kyler Murray. That's right. Arizona Cardinals. I'm a little surprised I got him at number 12. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's probably one when I went into the into this exercise thinking, oh, yeah, Kyler Murray would be a top 10 quarterback for sure.
He was 7 last year.
He was 7 last year, I know. But, we'll get into it. I think the first thing you're going to hit on, Ahmed, or at least we got to say about this guy, this is still one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in the NFL. Hands down. There's my banner statement. If I had to say a headline, there is a lot to like about what he can bring to the table. I mean, come on. First off, he runs like an elite slot receiver in the NFL. Like if you move Kyler Murray to the slot tomorrow for the Arizona Cardinals, you'd go, oh shit, nobody can cover him in the slot. Nobody can. He's so quick. He's so explosive. He can accelerate. So and that's special in itself. And then, hey, the throwing is pretty damn special too. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the throwing, he's gifted. His arm is strong. And I mean, he can make all the throws and then some. And then has a quick release. I mean, again, his life is getting the ball out of his hands, quick screens, three-step drop, boom, 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 all of that. And then does have, a thing that I'm big into, and he needs it because of his size. He does have different ways to throw the football. He can throw the ball sidearm awkwardly and do all those things really at a pretty high level. So that's the things you love about him. I do. So you talk about, again, physical ability, what we talk about in this quarterback list, it's up there at the top of the league as far as pure ability. Decision-making and things of that nature, I don't have a whole lot of issues with his decision-making, how he sees the field. He plays it pretty good.
Seeing the field, when to run, when not to run, when to create more time, you like all that for him.
I like all that. But now we get into some things where I'd go, okay, pocket, it's not good in the pocket. The more you watch, it's good in the pocket against when it's open and it's free and there's no pressure. And now I can, nobody was open and now I'm going to run here. Oh, wait, that guy cut me off. Let me bounce back and now I'll run here. And that's great. It's all good. But what you saw as the season went along a little bit, teams are getting used to some of these quarterbacks, these fast quarterbacks. I mean, again, they're in college, they're in the NFL. These teams are used to it. These NFL teams are being taught how to stop these running quarterbacks, all year long now. It's a thing. It's not just a weekly thing. It's literally almost all year long because almost every team has a quarterback. They go, well, watch out. He can get out of the pocket. We got to stay in our lane. We got to do this. So the one thing that I would say is we get into the negatives of him because there's a lot of positives and we'll bounce back to that. But yes, as you saw, as the season went on and people kept him in the pocket. And I know he had the ankle or injury too, but he still was plenty fast to get out of danger and do all that. Keep him in the pocket. Make him make plays within the pocket is still a question mark for Kyler Murray, for sure. And again, if the pocket's clean and all good, that's great. But as you know, as we know, there's going to come a 3 or 4 game stretch where you're going to play some really good defenses, a la the Rams or the 49ers or some of those teams, and they're going to go, wait, we're fast at defense end, and we kind of know how to play the running quarterback, so we're not just going to let you run around, and we're going to be chasing you and all that. And we're going to collapse the pocket, and now you're going to have to stand in there and have people in your face and throw the ball. And you're going to have to take a big hit and know it's coming and still throw the ball. And those are some of the things that certainly are still not up to the top-tier guys in the league. That would be a thing that still needs work. It was better this year. It was. Third downs, we talked about last year during the quarterback rankings. I went, man, third downs, he's not very good because of the pocket thing. He was better at that this year, but I think there's still some meat left on the bone as far as improving in that.
So let's talk about that playoff game because it wasn't great. It wasn't great at the end of the season for the Cardinals. He was hurt a little bit, but it wasn't great for them at all in the playoff game against the Rams. Obviously, a very good defensive team. He was just 19-34, 137 yards, no touchdowns, had a couple interceptions. Just had 6 rush yards, a career low in passer rating. So it really was a bad game.
It was a bad game
for Kyler Murray.
And I don't want to put it all on him.
So, how much did that game influence your ranking here?
Well, you saw it. See, that game was just the blow-up spot. That's where I'm mad at myself a little to a degree last year. I was saying some of these things towards the end of the year.
There were signs that something like what happened in the playoff game could happen.
There was signs. Exactly right. You go back to the second Rams game, the Lions game, What else am I missing? The Colts game where he had one run, but that was it. But again, we're talking about, some teams that started to figure out to go, wait, we're going to keep him in here. And if he beats us in the pocket all day and all that, then fine, so be it, we lose. But there was a concerted effort there, and that's where I think you saw some slippage a little bit as far as that's concerned. So, yes, there was that, but then it got to the Rams again, and now it's the playoffs, and they throw a few other wrinkles at you, and it's the intensity of the playoffs, and the players rise up to the level, another level of play. And, yeah, that's when – and then added to another element of this is – teams caught on to their offense 100%. That's an issue. Some of the struggles they have down the stretch are not all on Kyler Murray. Everybody catches on to Cliff Kingsbury's offense. So I think you add all those things we're talking about with a good defense like the Rams, who were kind of starting to peak at that time.
Right.
It showed us on national TV a playoff game. We were like, oh, shit, he's small out there. Whoa. And that's, to me, still the biggest worry question about Kyler Murray. Game's wide open. All that's going to be great. But when we get to those 5 or 6 teams like we're talking about where they go, man, they're front four, they can kind of push the pocket and they're not overwhelmed by his athleticism. Can we go to the next level there? And that, I think, is still the big question for Kyler Murray.
So some of these quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield included, hard to evaluate because of an injury. Kyler did have an injury last year,
had
an ankle injury.
Right.
Pete notes here, Kyler Murray had the second best odds to win the MVP before he missed those 3 games with an ankle injury.
Sure.
So I think we have the numbers here, Kristen, and I think we got Gabby back there today. There they are. So before and after the ankle injury, before they were 7-1, he was rolling, completing 72% of his passes. Afterwards, the team was 2-5. He completed 64% of his passes. Pass yards per game went down by like 50. So I don't know. Who knows if he was playing injured, hurt, didn't run a whole lot in that playoff game, as we said.
Right.
So I wonder how much that ankle injury affected him in the second half of the year.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it wasn't perfect, but I can't sit there and say when I watched him back and things and went, oh, man, it's really bothering him. Right. Like, man, he's usually 4.39, but he's running 4.79 right now. No, I was going, no, he's still running. He didn't, maybe not running 4.39, but he's running 4.44 around the edge.
Still
here.
Enough plays
he's
where
still,
you went, wow.
He still took off against the Colts and ran 70 yards down the middle of the field, and the DB caught him at the 1-inch line. So he still could go. And so that again, did that throw him out of rhythm? Certainly.
Yeah.
But I think what we saw early in the year, again, goes back to kind of what we were just talking about. They're a team that, it's talent and playmaking and they kind of go on momentum. But once you start to get I feel like once teams got a little bit of a feel and how to play them and slow them down, and we're like, oh, wait, if we don't do any stupid mistakes on our side of the ball, let's muck this game up and make it ugly.
Right.
And see if they can grind it out and be as tough with us. I feel like that's when they started to fall apart. Sure. Green Bay kind of showed that in the game that he got hurt in that you're talking about. That would be one game where it started to mean to where look at I went, ooh, they're kind of keeping him in the pocket there. Rodgers and company didn't make any mistakes. He had a few errant throws where he threw the ball high, made some bad turnovers, and all of a sudden they were in trouble. But he had a hard time running that day. Right, they kind of kept him in there, and that started to, I feel like, a little bit of a blueprint right there. And then, of course, yes, he didn't play after that. But, I think they took advantage of some teams early on.
And even if it was a little bit of the injury, that becomes part of the evaluation as well.
Well, it's part
Pete
of the size combo.
In 2020, he played injured second half of the year.
The shoulder, right, and stuff like that,
exactly.
right?
It was just wasn't quite right with the throwing. Yep. And so now 2 years in a row, and so that would become part of the evaluation with Kyler Murray.
I think that you have to talk about it a little bit. It is. And again, it's why we've discussed, I know Florio's discussed this, hey, there's definitely a group of teams in football that would not have Kyler Murray as their starting quarterback because of some of these things we talk about. So, yes. And then, hey, leadership, hey, that's another area I'd like to see him take another jump in.
That's an interesting topic.
That's part of this.
Let me read something that J.J. Watt said here.
Go ahead.
When talking about Kyler Murray, who he's gotten to know here, he's a different quarterback, and he knows that. He's not the traditional quarterback that you look at either from a personality and media standpoint or from the way he plays the game. I think he knows that. He's accepted it, and he embraces that. And so that's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
J.J. Watt is acknowledging the fact that Kyler is not your typical quarterback. He's a leader. He doesn't seek out the spotlight, which might be some players think that is cool, but he can get surly, he can get quiet, and his leadership is atypical for a quarterback. You think he can change. The way J.J. Watt talks is that maybe that's just who he is and he'll never change.
Well, maybe it is who he is. He has to find a way, to me, within who he is to just have a little bit more of an effect on the football team. Like we'll talk about with some guys here today or other guys where, again, he's the man. They're still going to be good. He'll still be good if he continues to approach it the way he wants to. But at some point, just knowing if it continues to be 11-6, and he's going to start being an asshole or something and infecting the team to go, wait. What's going on here is not acceptable. We gotta start fixing things. Whether he has to start yelling at players on the field or yelling at himself on the field, whatever that is, he's got to find that a little bit. Because
a vocal
to me,
leader. He's
a
not
vocal leader, something along those lines, just to, again, you got to have that ability to whatever it is to have a feel for your team. Oh, today we got to step on their throats a little bit. I got to yell at the guys.
That's interesting.
Here's a day where, man, I got to prop us up a little bit.
Yeah.
But still have an effect. Don't be just, well, I'm going to be quiet and then I'm going to handle business. I'll handle my business. That's great. That's cool. I understand that. And that's really, yes, should be good. But we're talking about we might want to pay you $48 million a year, and that's the next thing we're expecting here. I thought it was a good start last week with him being at OTAs because he wasn't there the first time around. I think he probably realized that, like, wait, why would I do this to myself? Why wouldn't I want to be there? We get some new guys. Why don't I get better? Show the team that I'm not selfish, which to me is a good, like, hey, I'm not being paid yet. I deserve to be paid. I should be paid, but I'm here working. I think those are little things that certainly can like start going that direction. But again,
I don't want Chris Simms to say to Mike Florio, "Hey, why is he not showing up at ATAs, OTAs?"
OTAs, I know, and then he has to attack me because we didn't talk about that, which we'll get into here in a minute. All right, but yes, I mean, so that's the big thing. But here's the biggest reason I came to it. All right, and I've already hit on it, but just really to, I guess, nail it down. We talked about all the positives, but like, his size, the playing style doesn't always allow for the big downfield plays, and that goes back to a little bit of the pocket thing. I think they're reluctant to call some of those plays at time. As the year went on, you see that, there's a lot of attempts and completions for not a lot of yards in a lot of games. And I think a little bit of this, because you have to play to Kyler Murray. He's not going to stand in there and, oh, wait, the pocket's collapsing. Wait, the post is coming open down the middle. Pat the ball one more time. You're going to get crushed, but it's going to be a touchdown. It's not going to happen. He's going to duck or run or get out of there. He's not going to let you just take the hit, so that gets affected. So there's some of that. The play calling, the natural play itself. Oh, wait, I have a drop back pass. Wait, coach told me to look to the left in the in cut, but if I see the safety be, a little hungry on the in cut, whoa, be alert for the post over the top. Like, not always going to get there because, again, if it's not perfectly clean, he's not going to hang in there and wait for it.
Right.
And to me, that's just the last little negative. And again, I think the other thing to that is certainly Arizona could help him out a little too. With diversity in offense, can their offense help him get better in those areas? I have that question too, but those are my questions about his game. Again, incredible talent, a lot of good things. To me, it's no longer like, is he good? I know he's good.
Yeah.
We're putting him in the top 10 now because it's like, is he good against the other good? That's where we're at here. We're at the part of the list where it's like, you better be good when you're playing the other good teams too. You can't just be good against, we're way better and now I'm awesome today. And then that's probably where a lot of nitpicking goes a little long with these guys.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.